Okay, so here we have a low gold support main starting off with Anna. Um, so just talking about your team comp real quick. You're running Anna Lucio. That's a fantastic support combination. It's very good at pretty much all ranks. I am hoping that your Lucio realizes and understands his role here. So when you're running this support combination, um, especially because you have no other peel, your Lucio, his like primary objective is keeping you safe. So again, that's the kind of awareness and game sense thing that low gold Lucios won't have. But again, as you climb, Lucios should be peeling for their Ana. Like you are kind of the main way you're going to stay alive is Lucio, right? Because Ana does not have any escape abilities. So Lucio and his speed boost are what are going to get you out of danger if you get dove, especially because they're running a tracer. Um, Ana Genji, classic Nano Blade is one of the most powerful alt combinations in the game. You're running double shield, which is fine, and you've got Junkrat for spam. Junkrat's not the greatest DPS hero in the game right now, but again, this is low gold, so you play, whatever you're best at. And Junkrat still is good at shield break. He is still good at spamming down chokes, and Busan has some nice narrow corridors for Junkrat to spam down on. You're playing downtown here first, so there's a couple of good narrow chokes for Junkrat to just spam down, which is all well and fine. Looking at the enemy team, they are running a Tracer and Ashe. Both are threats to you. Again, Tracer is going to be flanking, or rather, their Tracer should be flanking. And as Ana, you are basically the primary target for that Tracer. Right? If that Tracer can kill you, their Tracer just won the fight for their team. Right? Same thing with Ashe. Ashe is going to be on the high ground, or rather, their Ashe should be on the high ground. And again, Ashe can pretty much instant kill you. I think she can actually if she lands a headshot. So both characters are dangerous to you. Even D.Va, right? Some D.Vas are going to be very aggressive and look for those opportunities to dive. And if D.Va dives on you, there's not really much you can do. If D.Va is smart, she's going to dive at you with Defense Matrix, absorb your cooldowns, and just burn you down with micro missiles. That's where Lucio comes into play. If D.Va dives you, Lucio can just speed you away from the danger. But again, I don't think that kind of coordination is available in low gold. Minor nitpicking thing there. You kind of wasted a shot shooting at nothing. Don't do that, right? Your team wasn't in need of healing. You weren't shooting at any characters. See, now you have the opportunity to try and shoot the Tracer, but you're reloading instead. So if you had gone around the corner there and attempted to shoot the Tracer, that'd be fine, right? Because, then you put some damage on the Tracer, you build your ult a little bit, you force that Tracer to kind of move out of position because you just did 70 damage to her, and she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to be there. So basically, don't shoot at nothing. Ana's ammo is a valuable resource. You have to keep track of that, and you always want to have as much ammo as you can when the team fight starts. So you're a little bit out in the open here. If Genji didn't deflect that fire strike, if Sigma didn't absorb it, you could have been hit by that fire strike, and that's, half your health gone already. So you are running double shield. And so if both your Ryan and their Sigma have their shields up, then this is kind of questionable. You do have protection of 2 shields, but again, with the nerfs to all the shields, they are significantly weaker. And so you should always not trust shields. Go find some cover, like play around this structure, whatever this is. Yeah, that's... So this is good. You realized your mistake pretty quickly, and you climbed behind cover, which is fine. Again, there was a brief instant where you were... let's see if I can go back just a second here. Yeah, so like right here, you're kind of out in the open. So right there. So this right here, you've got Ashe on the low ground for some reason. Ashe should be up here, right? If I was this Ashe, I would be up here. And this Ashe can just shoot over top of the shields and kill you instantly, right? This Tracer, again, is also fighting on the front lines. This Tracer should be pushing either left or right around point and coming to pressure you, right? But basically, even their Zenyatta, right? Their Zenyatta could be spamming damage at you. Like you are out in the open here. You are right down the middle of their choke. You are in a position where Tracer can easily get to you. This is just very, very bad positioning. Like, and as you climb in higher ranks, their DPS, even their Zen, is going to realize that, and they are going to start focusing damage on you, right? And again, if Ashe was on this high ground, she could have shot over top of both your shields and killed you, right? Because you were far enough back, you wouldn't have been protected by those shields, and you would be dead already, and your team would have lost the fight, right? So yeah, so their Zen was aiming at you. You just managed to get behind cover before he could hit you. But it's good you're around this cover. I like that. You're peeking and healing your Rhine. That's good. Did you need to reload there? You know what? I'm okay with that reload. There's a bit of a lull here, so you're making sure you have full ammo. That's okay. So this is bad. I can see you are going for the Sigma here to heal, but once again, look where you're at. You are right in the middle of their choke, right? So again, if their Ashe was on high ground, or if their Tracer was around flanking, you are an easy target, right? So look as you move forward. Again, right in the line of their choke. If Ashe was on high ground, she could kill you instantly here. If their Tracer was at all flanking, you are out in the open, easy to kill. Yes, it's a good thing you're paying attention to your other tank. It's good that you're seeing as low health, but you were back here, and you basically had two options to path to your Sigma. One is you go this way, right, where you push towards their team, you walk out in the open. That's bad. Your other option, which was the better option, is you push straight this way, right? Yes, you still walk out in the open, but you spend a much shorter distance in the open, and the enemy team will have a much smaller window to react to your presence. So the other option too is that you back up kind of this way a little bit, try and keeping something between you and this high ground. Again, this is a very common high ground for Ashe, for Hanzo, for Widowmaker. Any one of them is an instant kill for you, so you want to avoid being in that sight line as much as possible. Again, this is one of those things that you can probably get away with at low gold, but as you climb up, even in mid to high gold, the DPS are going to be a little bit smarter. You're going to have a Widowmaker, Hanzo, Ashe on this high ground. They're going to see you walking out in the open, and they're going to shoot you. It's good you're paying attention to your tank, and it's good you're going to heal him. You just took the wrong way to get from point A to point B. Capping point, that's all well and fine. Again, you're standing out in the open here, which, I mean, it's fine now because their team's respawning, and they don't really have an easy way to kind of get to you. Like, they can't see you from this high ground. The only one that could get to you is their Tracer, who is now on Junkrat. So, for some reason. Oh, they switched it up. One went Junkrat, the other one went Tracer, so still a threat, still equally a threat. So it was a low-value sleep dart there. You tried to hit the Junkrat. You have to keep in mind that your abilities are on long cooldowns, like sleep dart's on a 12-second cooldown or whatever it is, and even if you did hit that sleep dart, it is tough for your team to follow up on that. It doesn't really do a whole lot. Sure, it might save your team's shields a little bit from his spam, but low value. It's a high risk, low reward sleep dart. You wasted a cooldown, or essentially. And again, you are once again standing in the middle of the choke. Their Junkrat is still alive. He can spam damage down here, and in 2 mines, you're dead. Right? So this is not where you want to be. Go back around cover. Go back around a corner or something. Definitely don't do this. Don't push into the fight. Again, you were standing out in the open, and yeah, I was gonna say that there's probably somebody peeking up on this balcony, which I don't know why it's their Zenyatta of all people. Their Zen's in a bad position. At least your Genji has control of this high ground, and the only one who can really take advantage of it would be Junkrat. But again, Junkrat on the high ground is still dangerous. Junkrat could just be spamming down choke as well from where he is, hit you with mines. You are out in the open right there. They have a tracer around somewhere who should be coming to flank you at some point. There's Zenyatta. His Zenyatta should be looking at you. It looks like their Zen is. Let's see, that is. Uh, their Zen should be looking at you. Yeah. So yeah, their Zen's looking to kill you here. Um, Again, you are wide out in the open. You need to be backing around this cover here, making yourself hard to hit. Nice sleep on the Zen. Don't do that. I mean, sorry. I mean, that was a great nade. You hit both Tracer and Zenyatta, so that means that their Zen should be dead, and their Tracer's going to have to recall to get rid of that, which she does. But what I meant by that is don't push forward. Right, your team is down. Their main tank. Sure, you got Tyre, which got Diva out of mech, and Junkrat down, but your team is backing up to point. So right now you are wide out in the open. You have no cover. They don't really have anyone that can pressure you, I guess, because their Tracer is dead, or no, their Tracer's still alive. Sorry, their Tracer recalled. Yeah, so you should not be doing this. Absolutely not be doing this. Again, this Tracer after recall should be coming to pressure you. Yeah, see, this is very, very dangerous. This is an aggressive play, and in higher ranks, you are going to be punished for this because you are now out in the open. You're away from your team. You are chasing down a kill. It's not necessarily your job as Anna to chase down these kills like this. Yes, their Zen is out of position. Yes, he's naded. Yes, he should die, but that's not your primary objective. You are Anna. You are the primary support. You are the main healer for your team. You need to prioritize your life above everything else, right? And so right now you are putting yourself in a very bad position to chase down a kill. And if I was this Tracer, I would be recognizing like that you are by yourself. Like you have no one on your team that can really come to help you, other than Lucio if he uses his speed boost to get you very quickly. So if I was that Tracer, I would be turning my attention to you. Good kill on the Zen. But yeah, so your Genji came back to help you a little bit. Their Tracer is shooting at you. You should die here. Nice little quick scope on the Tracer. So this is one of those plays that probably only works in this elo, and it is not going to work in higher ranks, even as you climb up through gold. Better Tracers are never going to lose a 1v1 versus an Ana. The one saving grace is I think Genji hit her with a couple of shots, so she was already on low health when she engaged. But still, better Tracers are going to have the ability to one-clip you, or they're going to be able to blink around your shots, and you're just not going to be able to kill them. So this worked, but it's not going to work in higher ranks. And so I fear this might be one of those things where you're thinking, oh yeah, I secured 2 kills, so that was the right play. When in fact, it was the wrong play. You just got lucky that you got both kills and kind of benefited from the fact that this is lower ranks, and so the game sense, situational awareness, and mechanical skill of the players is considerably lower. This kind of play is not going to work in higher ranks. At this point, you're also low on health, so you need to either 1, use your nade on yourself to heal yourself, or 2, call for healing. Nade yourself. Okay, your Lucio wasted amp there, but at least he's coming back to heal you. So again, bad spot. Like, you're sitting here watching these Junkrat mines kind of bounce around you. It's because you're in a bad spot, right? Again, go hide behind cover, go play behind a corner or something. Right now, all you're doing is healing your team. You can do the exact same thing you're doing right now from back here, right? And this way, you have cover, you are harder to hit, you can still heal your team, you're still within sightlines of the choke, so if you wanted to try and get a cheeky nade off, you could throw it. But at least back here, you are not out in the open. So if you start to get pressured, you can retreat, you can hide. Um, but right now, you are out in the open. You have, if you get pressured, you get hit by a Junkrat mine. You have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to run. You have nowhere to retreat to. This is poor positioning. Always find cover. Always find a corner. Don't push up into the bulk of the fight like this. Heal your Junkrat. That's good. Good job healing yourself. Good try on the sleep. Don't go up here. So this team fight's a little bit chaos. Like, there's so much going on in so many different directions. There's no real target focus. The enemy team isn't pushing in. You guys aren't forcing the team when you get picks. The enemy team isn't forcing you when they get a pick. It's a bit of chaos right now. So, again, you were getting pressured by the Tracer there. Higher ranks, you'd be dead already because, again, when you get jumped on by a Tracer, there's really not much you can do against a good Tracer. So you kind of got lucky there. You know, your ball came to help you out, which is good. And again, you are backing up to a spot wide out in the open. I would be backing up around corner here, right down the stairs. This way you can avoid Junkrat spam. You have some cover to hide behind. You're closer to your Lucio, who can protect you. Same thing with your Reinhardt. Your Reinhardt should not be backing up into this spot, but you can't do anything about that. I know you're trying to keep him alive, but again, as I said, you need to prioritize your life over everything else. Don't put yourself in a bad position to try and save a teammate. Yeah, absolutely, you should keep your Reinhardt alive, but you know, if you're going to do this, get around one of these corners and like crouch or something. Right? Again, you're still in sightlines of that Junkrat, but at least you're out of the sightlines of everyone else on their team. You need to play around cover. You need to play around corners or something. Like, you are wide out in the open, and again, in higher ranks, you're going to be punished for this positioning. Let's see how you use Nano. Jump down. Yep. Nice sleep. Nice nade. Just die here. Don't get the health pack there. Your entire team is dead. They're capping point. There's no way you can win this, and so the longer you stay alive, the more you stagger yourself from the fight. And so the longer your team has to wait to get a full regroup. So when your team loses the fight like that, just die on point, right? Contest it as long as you can to try and delay it, but just die on point and try not to delay any longer than you have to, or walk back here and jump off the edge. Something. Reset, because you're not going to win this fight, so the longer you stay alive, the harder you make it for your team to recontest. Yeah, you tried to there, you know, you got the health pack, and then you tried to jump off there, which is fine. Yeah, and your team's pushing in without their main healer, so if they die, that's on them. Again, I know in low gold, at least on PC, it's hard to get everyone in voice chat, and from what I understand, it's even more difficult on console just because headsets aren't as common. But you should, as much as you can, try and be coordinating with your team. So try and at least get them in voice chat. If you have a mic or a headset, I recommend you get one. You know, you can go to Walmart and pick up a cheap one for like $10 or something like that. It's going to help you so much. You can easily climb into plat just by shot calling. You know, if you manage to get your entire team into voice chat and you tell your team, like, hey, your main healer is dead, don't push in, don't take damage, because you're not there to heal them. And if they listen to you, if they're in voice chat, they'll play a little bit safer. They won't be on this low health, so you won't have to scramble to try and keep them alive, right? You can hear Tracer on the left, but heal your Lucio. So you hear Tire, go hide. Tire's probably coming for you. You tried. There's not much you can do about that. You know, you can technically kill the Tire in 2 shots. So if you had hit both your shots there, you could have killed the Tire. But it's difficult to hit a tire. It moves pretty quickly, and a good Junkrat is going to be very unpredictable with its tire movement, so it's not an easy thing to do. Your Reinhardt can kill it in one shot with his Fire Strike if he had it off cooldown. Not really much you could have done there, really. But at this point, you are down your main tank. You need to back out. That's not good. Heal your Genji first. Heal your Genji. Heal your Genji. Yeah, you guys are feeding at this point, right? Again, you're down your main tank. You guys are taking a fight that's 3 versus 6. You're just gonna die. You're gonna stagger yourselves, and yeah. So again, this is one of those things at low gold where the game sense is just not there. But the basic premise in Overwatch is that whoever has more people on their team wins, right? So when you're trying to take a fight 4v6, 3v6, you're not going to win that fight, right? They have more people than you do. They have the advantage. All you're doing there is you're feeding. Like, you're just running in to die and feeding their ult charges. That's all that's happening. So when your Reinhardt died there to the tire, you as a team should have just backed out, waited for him to regroup, and then pushed back in. Yes, it kind of wastes time off the clock, but at least when you recontest, you guys are fighting as a full 6-person team. And you have a lot of big ults coming online here, right? You have everything except Blade. So, you can easily recontest this, right? If Rein lands a Shatter and you nano your Rein, that's an easy win right there, right? Easy, right? Or, Junkrat has Tire. He can get a huge pick. He can pick off their Zenyatta. He can pick off their Junkrat. He can even get their Reinhardt if he plays it properly, right? An easy win, right? So you use Tire and Shatter, right? Tire to take out their Reinhardt, and Shatter when their Reinhardt's dead. Boom, you win the team fight. But you can only do that if you regroup as 6 people, right? So the longer you trickle in like this, the harder it is for your team to retake the point, right? So think about it this way. If you had stopped to wait for your Reinhardt to regroup after he got killed by Tire, you would have wasted maybe 7 seconds for him to respawn, and then another 5 to 10 seconds for you to walk in and recontest. So you waste at most 15 seconds, right? But now, because you guys decided to trickle in 3 versus 6, well, your Reinhardt's respawned, right? So that's 10 seconds off the clock, and now there's only 4 people alive. If they continue trickling in, well, they're all gonna die. You guys are respawning, so that's another 7 to 10 seconds, right? And so that's another 10 to 20 seconds. You waste so much time by trickling in like this that you cannot win, right? So again, this is where you need to be calling in voice chat, calling for a regroup. This is how comms are so important, right? If you had been in chat calling for a regroup, you guys could very well retake this point. But again, everyone is dying. Just stop walking. Stop walking. Just let your ball come back to you. Your ball's feeding, your Lucio's feeding, you're feeding. Your Junkrat's calling for a group up, yeah. Listen to your Junkrat. Run away, run away, run away. Just... You're not gonna do this. You're an Ana and a Lucio. You can't 2v6 the enemy team. You're supports. Just back out of there. And now... Lost your main tank. He had Shatter. Why did he switch off? Oh, that hurts. That really hurts. Now their Reinhardt can get a free Shatter. You have nothing to block it. There it is. And... Oh, this... So much of this hurts. So... a lot of this is beyond your control, right? The biggest thing I would have done there is called for a regroup. Right, that way you wouldn't have fed in, you guys would still be alive, you'd probably still have your Reinhardt, right? You call for a regroup, you push back in as 6-person team. Because your Rein switched off Rein and went to Hog, you have nothing to block their enemy Rein Shatter. And so you now have to recognize that. And so once again, you were pushing in kind of to the front line, wide out in the open, no cover, that's why you got shattered. So it's partly because you didn't have a Reinhardt who could block the Shatter, but it's also partly because you were in a bad position and because you kept on trickling in. So their Reinhardt shattered you guys, he got a couple of kills with it, and your Genji decides that's a good time to Blade. Well, no. Horrible time to Blade because you guys lose this fight anyways. And he could have gotten Nano if he had just waited for you. So much about this hurts. So much of this could be cured with a mic and just some basic communications. Yeah, and now you guys lose first point because you didn't regroup. Because you wasted all that time trickling in, feeding. You died with Nano. You haven't used Nano at all this fight. Just Nano Ball at this point, or... yeah. Nade these guys, yeah, that's fine. At this point, you're stalling for time. Unlucky that you missed the beat by just a second, but... if you guys somehow win this point back... no way. You guys are not winning this. Oh my god. Unlucky you missed the sleep dart there. Sleep the Moira if you can. Good try. Yeah. Valiant effort at the end there to try and delay. You guys were just trickling in, but again, overtime you were just doing what you could. So... okay. Let's that first round, the biggest problem I'm noticing so far is your general positioning. So, you're standing out in the open generally, and you're pushing in a bit too close to the fight. You're playing too aggressively, and that puts you in some risky situations, and that's why you died most of the time. Is just because you had put yourself in a bad situation. Again, as Ana, you want to be playing around cover, playing around corners as much as possible. Again, value your life above everything else, above any kind of teammate or anything like that. Other than that, you know, most of your sleeps were suboptimal. You know, you went for these high risk sleeps. You know, that one on the Junkrat. I guess you had a good one on the Zen. You know, you tried on the ulting Moira, which is fine. Nade usage wasn't terrible. You know, you landed a couple big anti-nades, but the biggest thing I think is your positioning. And if you have a microphone, you need to be using it. You need to be shot calling for your team. You can climb so high, like you can easily climb out of gold simply by communicating for your team. And if you can get everyone just to jump into voice chat and hopefully coordinate with your comms. Okay, so you switch over to Brig here. Okay, so you're running Brig and Moira, which are very kind of brawly support characters. So as Brig, you heal when you do damage, right? That's what your Inspire is you need to do damage to start your healing process. So you kind of want to be playing with your Reinhardt. You never want to be in front of your Reinhardt, but you definitely want to be playing with him in range such that when Ryan is swinging, you can be swinging with him and your mace can be doing damage. You can keep Inspire up, that kind of thing. In terms of your armor packs, I want to see you use armor on Genji and Winston. So when you armor Genji, like you toss an armor pack on him when he dives in, and that little bit of armor just increases his survivability to a frightening point. Where he can no longer just be like instant killed and deleted with a stun or something like that. Same thing with your Winston. That little bit of extra armor is going to increase his survivability, and they do so much more work. So I want to see your armor packs focused mostly on these dive guys. You can still use them like when you're in desperate need of healing to heal up Junkrat or Moira or Ryan or something like that, but definitely I want to see you proactively use your armor packs on your dive heroes. So this is bad right off the start. Your tanks are pushing up, and your supports are pushing low. This is not good. So again, if you want to fight on point, call for it, right? Um, if not, just play with your tanks, right? If you can't get people, follow your Reinhardt. You are Brig. You should be glued to Reinhardt's ass, pretty much, right? You need to play with him. Same thing with your Moira. Your Moira should be up here with your tanks. So right now, they have no healing up there. Your tanks are going to die. You guys are going to lose this first point because you and Moira are throwing. That's straight up what this is. I don't mean to sound harsh, but there to use your armor pack on your Reinhardt. He was taking a little bit of damage. I would have thrown it on the Winston when he dove in, or throw it on your Genji so he could dive in. Yeah, of course you need healing. Your supports aren't with you. Go to your right. So there's a Reinhardt right here, and you just completely ignored him. Like, you walked right past him. I don't know if it's because just you thought it was your Reinhardt or something like that, but situational awareness thing, like, you could have just easily started swinging on this Reinhardt, swing, swing, bash, swing, swing, whip shot kind of thing, and started killing him, right? Between you and Moira, you might have actually been able to secure that kill, because their Reinhardt doesn't really have any support. And your Inspire might have been able to reach your Reinhardt. Inspire has a huge radius, right? So it's good you're going for a whip shot here to try and build your or to try and get your Inspire up, but you literally just walked right past a Reinhardt. Right, you're walking up, walking up. Winston's jumping down for a mega health pack. That's fine. I'd do that too if I was Winston. Heal up your Junkrat. That's fine. So you can see the Reinhardt. You can see the red outline. You know he's there, and you completely ignore him. Oh, there you go. So little thing there, didn't need whip shot because you actually whip shotted him away from your Reinhardt. In that situation, just keep on swinging. Between you and Reinhardt, you can burn down their Reinhardt. So you're being attacked by a Moira. Yeah. How you guys managed to push this first point, I have no idea. So in higher ranks, remember how I said you guys were throwing when you went away from your team like that? So in higher ranks, if I was the enemy team pushing up here, and I saw that both of the enemy supports were down here, I would be just bum rushing these guys, right? The enemy team in higher ranks, they're going to notice that they don't have supports with them, and they're just going to destroy them, right? There is not a damn thing that your team could do. So you somehow got away with this. This is, again, one of those poor decisions that you're getting away with here for some reason that's just not going to fly at higher ranks, And if I was your Reinhardt, if I was your Winston, I would be raging in chat right now because my supports didn't follow me, which you as Brig, which you as Moira should be doing. If you wanted to push point, again, that's where the mic comes in, start spamming group up with me. If your team doesn't follow you, just follow your Reinhardt, right? You as Brig, as Moira, should always be following your Reinhardt. Especially as Brig, especially because, you need to be in the brawl to do your healing. So this is a bit of a weird fight. Your team is very spread out, but you're pushing point, which is fine. Armor pack your Genji. Armor pack your Genji. So right there, you could have thrown an armor pack in your Genji, and he could have dove in and just had a little bit more survivability. Yes, he was at full health, but that extra armor is it's such a huge boon to a dive hero, especially a dive squishy like Genji or Tracer, that it makes them very terrifying to deal with as the other team because, armor reduces incoming damage, right? So Genji has 200 health. You throw in an armor pack, 230 armor or something like that? I can't remember what the armor pack delivers, or 250. It's scary, right? That extra 50 armor reduces incoming damage and makes him so much harder to kill, right? So if he gets stunned, he can no longer be stunned and double headshot by a McCree, right? It's an armor packed Genji is scary. You might have been able to save your Winston there if you had pushed top instead. So this really isn't on you. This is kind of just on a team thing, but your team is playing so spread out right now that Brig is just not an optimal pick, really. because you're struggling to provide value to your team, right? You're running around, kind of up and down the stairs. You're split up from your team. No one's really playing together, and that's where Brig shines, right? Is when you're playing a brawl style comp. Um, Brig also does really well with not really a dive comp, but when you're playing with dive heroes, because again, her armor packs, when you put them on Genji, when you put them on Tracer, just makes them so much more difficult for the enemy team to deal with. But you as Brig, to provide value for your team, you need to be up in the brawl, you need to be doing damage. That's how you heal, that's how you do everything as Brig, right? So again, not as you, your team is just very spread out. There's no real coordinated team fight happening on either end. Your Winston's feeding, jumping in by himself, your Genji's kind of doing things on his own. Um, Good try on the whip shot. Missed the stun, that's okay. So that's another thing is Brig. Yes, you want to be doing damage. Yes, you need to be swinging on things to heal, but you also never want to be on the front line. Again, you only have 200 shield health and 250 actual health, so you are relatively squishy and generally fairly easy to burn down. Like you saw there, because you were on the front line, you're already down to 93 hit points, right? So you're Brig. A lot of people think Brig is very hard to kill, but really you just need to focus her, and she melts very quickly. So when you're playing very aggressive like this, you need your Reinhardt with you, right? You should never be in front of your Reinhardt, really, in the brawl. But it's good you backed up around a corner, although you kind of backed up too far there. I would have just kind of stayed right here around this corner and waited for your Reinhardt, who, for whatever reason, is just standing on point, hard shielding. I don't know what your Reinhardt's doing, but in any case, as Brig, play with your Reinhardt, right? If your Reinhardt wants to be on point, play with your Reinhardt, right? Either, again, be in voice comms telling him to play with you, or more likely than not, he's not going to be in chat or he's not going to be listening to you, so you need to be playing with your Rein. This is good. You're back with your Rein, that's fine. Don't worry about the Zen in Transcendence. Zen is immortal when he's in Transcendence, so there's not a damn thing you can do to him. Their Reinhardt there was pressuring your Rein. Focus on their Reinhardt, right? So it looks like you're really struggling to get value out of Brig, which really is because you're not playing with your Reinhardt. It's also because like your team is so spread out and there's so much happening. Good try on the whip shot. Kill the Tracer, kill the Tracer. Shield bash. Good kill on the Tracer. Alright, let's see how you use Rally. That was weird. Don't just stand there. Don't just stand there. Like, get off there. You're too easy to hit. So, little thing there. Especially when it comes to things like Diva Bombs, never trust shields. Always try to find cover. So right there, you could have just completely backed downstairs and broken line of sight with Diva Bomb, and then you wouldn't have wasted your shield, right? Little thing. You should use Rally. A little bit late on the Rally. I would have used it earlier. So Rally is one of those abilities that is just it is such a good ultimate. Again, as Brig, it increases your movement speed, increases your healing output, and it provides armor to all your teammates within your healing radius. And so it's one of those abilities you want to pop at the start of team fights. So it kind of you initiate with your ultimate, right? You can use it for sustain, but you want to use it at the start of the team fight. That way, when the mid fight breaks out, your team has all this armor, and it is just so much more difficult for the enemy team to burn you down, right? Whereas when you pop it in the mid fight, you kind of have to focus more on healing rather than applying armor. Whereas, when you start with it, all of a sudden the enemy team then has to burn through armor first and then start dealing health damage. right? And it just increases your survivability considerably and makes your entire team so much more of a threat. Good kill on the Ryan. Nice whip shot. Shield bash. Watch out for Tyre. Throw an armor pack to your Reinhardt. Throw another, yeah. So you know your Reinhardt was low health there. That was one of those times where it would be okay to just pump armor into him. So throw both your armor packs towards him. It'll just increase your burst healing and make sure he stays alive through this team fight. Again, I don't really want to sound too harsh here, but despite the fact you're on fire here, I'm probably going to say that your team carried through this fight. It looks like you built rally once and you kind of struggled to provide value to your team. Your team should not have captured that point at all, especially because you and Moira pushed low ground first, as I explained. So this is one of those habits that you need to break out of. When you're playing as Brig, follow your Reinhardt. You should be glued to his ass. Never be in front of him, but always be like behind him. Again, you kind of want to follow that same idea with Ana, where you want to play around a corner, try and find some cover, but you always want to be near your Reinhardt to support him, to help him do damage, to help keep him alive. Armor pack usage was not the greatest. Again, armor packs are honestly best used on flanking DPS, such as Genji, such as Tracer. Same thing with Winston, right? They will help them stay alive much longer when they decide to jump in. Rally honestly wasn't a terrible use of Rally. I would have just, again, popped it a little bit earlier, a few seconds earlier, just to get full value out of it. Again, it's one of those ultimates that you want to use right as the team fight starts.
Score 1-1.
I hope I'm not sounding too harsh in this review here. I'm not doing it to be harsh. I'm trying to point out your mistakes as I see them. I do hope you climb. I want to help you improve, and so I'm trying to again just point everything out to you. I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm not trying to sound harsh. So you're back on Ana here. You've got a Ryan Zarya now, which is a very strong tank line. I like it. You're running Ana and Moira, so now you don't have the peel that you would have had with the Lucio, but you have so much more healing output that you as Ana can look to be a little bit more utility, right? So Moira out-heals Ana, like straight up she does, especially when you're running brawl tanks like Ryan Zarya. So now you can be looking to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more, I don't want to say aggressive, but trying to find more creative angles to try and land anti-nades, right? To be a little bit more of a utility support rather than a heal bot. Because you are no longer considered the main support. So again, out in the open, I don't like this. You know, you could be hiding around here, be hiding around this corner here. If you want it to be up here, you could even just be playing around one of these pillars, right? But again, you're just standing here out in the open. You have no cover. You know, you could be playing over here around this corner would be a good spot because then you can land a nice easy nade onto their back line. Find some kind of cover to play around, right? Find some kind of protection because right now you have absolutely nothing to protect yourself. Yeah, so you're getting discorded. Zen is going for a full flank. Their Zen's throwing or feeding or something. You need to be calling that out, or it looks like your Reinhardt's trying to help you out here. Good nade to heal yourself though. A little bit slow on the reaction time to the Zen. So that was good there though. So you started getting pressured by their Zenyatta and their Tracer, and you moved forward to your team. That's good, right? I like that. So whenever you do get pressured by a flanker there, start calling it out, saying, hey, there's somebody on your Ana, back left, right? Say who you are, say who's threatening you, give a rough location where you are, and try your best to move towards your team, right? Because the closer you are to your team, the harder it is for that tracer to secure a kill because there are more people around you to support you and be a threat to that tracer. But again, you're kind of standing out in the open. Good try on the sleep. Nice nade. Heal up your Moira. So again, always pay attention to your other support. You can see your Moira's a little bit low on health here. Just give her a quick shot. One shot and she's full health.
This is my will.
Heal your Moira. Heal your Junkrat. Play her on pillar.
This will heal.
So again, out in the open, you know, you started, it looked like you were going to play around this corner, which is fine. Like, I mean, it's not the optimal corner to play around, but at least it's something. You know, at least here, you know, when they push this side, you have sight lines to everything. So honestly, this would have been okay. I would have been okay with that if you had stayed here. But then you decided to rotate this way. If you're going to play this sight line, again, it's a little bit harder. I would kind of try and play around this pillar here so you have some kind of protection, but you know, this was a fine spot. Playing around pillar would be okay. You know, if you're going to play this sight line, kind of going, I mean, you can't really play around here because then you can't see your team. If you want it to be really aggressive, you could even try and play around drum here and try and be a little more aggressive with your nades or something like that, but don't stand out in the open. I'm going to keep saying that all games to try and drive it home. Here's your Moira. So, honestly, in those situations, because you're running a Moira, your Moira should be your first priority to heal, because Moira can heal up everybody, right? They're all nice and grouped up. Moira just does, you know, one quick primary fire, and she heals up everybody here. So your primary focus should be keeping your Moira alive, right? So heal up your Moira first, because her self-heal is somewhat limited. You know, she can heal up everybody else. Always pay attention to your other support. And here, yeah, I was gonna say, so you can hear that sound cue, right? You could. This is where a good pair of headphones is going to come in. So on console, I can understand, like, if you're just playing on a TV with normal speakers, it's a little bit harder to get that directional sound. But you know, if you decide to invest in a good pair of headphones, um, can get good headphones with some directional sound. I think Turtle Beach has some good ones that work well with Xbox. I'm a fan of Logitech. That they should work with Xbox because it's a Microsoft product. I have a pair of SteelSeries headphones myself, and they're probably like the best headphones I've ever owned, but they do tend to be on the pricier side. Um, but again, they do have that directional sound, that faux 7.1 Dolby Digital surround sound. So I could hear that Zen coming from my right side there. I could hear him charge up his shots. It's a very, very loud sound cue. And you know, you were a little bit slow on the reaction. You got shot before you heard that. Um, it's one of those things where listening to sound cues is going to help improve your gameplay so much. So when you hear that Zen charge up that shot, you can hear it's loud, so it's relatively close. You could hear it's coming from the right hand side, so you know that he's probably on these stairs here. You might have been able to react a little bit faster before you got discorded, before you got hit a couple times. Focus on healing your Zarya. So throwing that sleep over there was fine, but again, as Ana, you're not primarily a DPS, you are still primarily a healer. So, you know, you were out of line of sight from that Zen. He really couldn't pressure you, so trying to YOLO that sleep over there, again, that's fine. But then try to focus on healing, right? Go to your Reinhardt. Good nade. That was a good DMech. Like, your Moira's ulting here, so she's got all kinds of healing on your team. So at that point, that was okay to go DPS on her. You might have been able to save your Junkrat there, but honestly, you guys win this fight, so it's not bad. Heal up your Moira, that's good. Heal up your Genji. You can see he's low health, like he was right in front of you. Nice sleep. Honestly, when he sleeps like that, I would just toss a cheeky nade in there. Reason being is when you sleep Reinhardt, they have nothing to block the nade. I mean, Diva could eat it, but if you toss a nade in there, hit one or two people, the Genji can just dash in there, right? It's probably not a good idea for the Genji to dash in there, but in low gold, that's something I could see the Genji's doing. Um, but so if you throw a nade in there, you can pump a couple of heals into your Genji. He can dash in there, deflect, get out, kind of thing. Again, heal your Genji. You can see he's low health. Heal your Genji. Heal your Genji. Heal Moira's fine, I guess. Straight up, the reason Genji died there was your fault. Um, Again, you had all kinds of time to heal him. He was pretty literally standing right in front of you before this team fight started, and you could see he was missing a couple health ticks. He was down maybe 50 health, I think. When he dashed up there again, you could see his health bar. So I can see health bars here because I have health bars turned on my screen. If you don't have health bars turned on, go to your options, and there is an option in there to turn on allied health bars. As a support, that is an absolute must, right? Because that's how I noticed that Genji was low health, is because I could see his health bar, right? If you don't have that on, absolutely turn it on. If you need that on as a support. Again, you could have pumped a couple heals into your Genji there, and he honestly, a Genji shouldn't really lose a duel to a soldier, but um, it's whatever, I guess. You just kind of ignored the Genji there. Not too sure why. Heal up your Reinhardt. Throw a nade at that, yes. Good nade. That's unlucky. So I didn't even hear the Reinhardt there. Reinhardt was being sneaky, went for a side shatter. Not much he could have done there. I didn't even hear him coming. Honestly, you weren't in that terrible of a position, but yeah. It's one of those things that, as a Reinhardt or even as an Ana, I wasn't paying attention to it, and I probably should have been. But when you don't see the enemy Reinhardt, he's either dead or flanking, right? And if he's flanking, you know he's going for a flank shatter. So when you don't see the enemy Reinhardt, you should be looking around and asking yourself, where is that Reinhardt? Again, I wasn't really paying attention to it either. I was um, looking at your positioning, your healing output, and things like that. And it's one of those things that you kind of have to keep track of in game. And realistically, it should be your Reinhardt's job to keep track of the enemy Rein, but that's also something that you should be doing as well. They popped a lot of ults there to take that point, like literally everyone they had. I guess they still have Diva Bomb, but you have a lot of big ults here. Like you've got Grav Nanoblade, which should be an instant win for you guys. So that was a bad poke there. As Ana, you can't one-shot anybody, and you can get one-shot. So you got bubbled there, which is lucky. Again, at higher ranks, when you peak like that, you are just going to be instant killed. Don't do that. Nice sleep. Charge that, Reinhardt. Charge that. Oh, Ryan, buddy. Ryan. So you slept this Diva here. Their Reinhardt should have instantly charged that Diva here, right? Because that would have been a good charge. It's an easy charge for him to hit. Reinhardt has his entire team around. Like Zarya can bubble him to protect him from flash or the enemy Rein counter charge. Another thing, whenever you see a Reinhardt charging, always throw your nade into that, right? If it's your Rein getting charged, throwing your nade at him is going to save his life. Or if it's your Reinhardt charging, you nade your own Rein and you anti-nade their Reinhardt. So their Reinhardt can't get healed, and your Reinhardt's healing input is doubled, right? So always use your nade on a charging Reinhardt. So you guys should have been able to, honestly, what should have happened there? That was a huge sleep on your part, right? So what should have happened there? You land that sleep, your Reinhardt charges the Diva, you demech the Diva, kill baby. That way they have nothing to fight against Grav. They have no more Transcendence because they used it. Without Diva there to eat Grav, you guys get a free Grav on their entire team. You Nano Genji, he Blades, you guys win, right? So realistically, That sleep should have won you the fight if your Reinhardt had charged, had played Reinhardt properly. But that sleep should have won you the game, realistically. Heal your Junkrat, heal your Junkrat. Nice. Oh no. Oh, that's just unlucky. I mean, so the one thing I could say there is, again, you were kind of standing out in the open, so when your Reinhardt didn't charge there, you could have been playing around corner. It looked like you guys were trying to push left there through doorway to kind of push that McCree, which is fine. You guys were just a little slow in that rotation, and you got Diva bombed, you got trapped. Your Reinhardt backed up instead of push it forward, trying to protect you. Your Reinhardt should have realized that you were in a position where you couldn't hide, so Reinhardt could have pushed forward instead of backing up and protected you, and the rest of your team could have just line of sighted the Diva bomb. So much went so wrong there, and you guys should have won the game, but it was just poor team coordination that it's just unlucky. So that's an aggressive angle to take. Back up, get the hell out. Don't poke. Just run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. Don't do this. Almost got the kill on the BAP. So that's another one of those plays that almost worked out for you. Like if you had gotten the kill on the BAP, that would have been huge. But it's one of those plays that was the wrong decision to make. You should have been backing up around this corner. You shouldn't have been poking. Should not have been peeking. Like just retreat to spawn, right? If I was the enemy team and I knew that the other team was dead and respawning, and I knew that there was an Ana just kind of poking here, I absolutely would be pushing that. Like you got a Diva here, you've got a Soldier, you got a McCree, you've got a couple of people that can just run you down and kill you, and then stagger you, and it's game over, right? Back up to your team. So your team should be looking. Grab Nanoblade. Hit him, hit him, hit him. Oh! A little bit faster. So whenever you see Genji dash up like that, you 100% know he's going for Blade. You don't have to wait until he starts his Blade to Nano. Just as soon as he dashes up, hit him with Nano, right? A little bit faster reaction time, and you could have gotten that Nano off before you got shattered. And now you're going to die with Nano again. And you somehow survive, but your Genji doesn't even need Nano. Oh. Unlucky. So you missed the Nano on your Genji. Didn't matter. Genji popped off. You turned around and tried to save Ryan with Nano. That was the right play because you missed Nano with Genji. It's just unfortunate that you weren't able to hit him quick enough.
Anyone want to join me? This will heal you.
Okay, so biggest things are your positioning. Absolutely. As Ana, as I was explaining through this entire video, try and find cover, play around a corner or something. You tended to play wide out in the open like that. Again, in higher ranks, even as you climb up through gold, you are going to be punished for that kind of positioning. As Brig, when you're playing with a Reinhardt, stay glued to your Reinhardt's ass. Honestly, those are the biggest things. There's a lot of little things in there, but if you start focusing on your positioning, start focusing on playing a little bit farther back, start focusing on playing around cover, playing around corners more, you're definitely going to start to climb. And then as you start to climb, as you learn how to stay alive like that, that's when you can start looking at the other things, like as Brig, kind of prioritizing your flank DPS or your Winston or something like that for your armor packs. As Ana, you can start looking for those off angles, or not really flanks, but kind of soft flanks to try and land those big anti-nades. Your nano usage, honestly, I think you only used nano once that entire game, and that was on the Reinhardt at the end, which almost saved him. Again, you were a little slow to build ult, I think, but that'll come as you practice, I guess, as you play. Yeah, my main takeaway from this, or the main takeaway you should have from this, is your general positioning. Start working on that, and I think you're definitely going to climb. Everything else will come with playtime. Good job.